All right, here we go. So this is, what year is it? 2019? Nice. Fresh video and all, if it works. Okay, so when I say, I swear to dog over there, you are not going to make it. Some of you three. All right? All right. So, mod math, one word, starts with an R. Remainder. That's it. Don't make rocket science out of this. Okay, I really don't know why I have these properties written as they are because, like this third one, I'm going to get rid of this after blacking it out right now. It's not going to make a lot of sense. I'm just going to tell you what it means for example one. All right, so I'm gonna throw it back out and show you. I don't think it really sticks out like what it really means to do. It's actually very easy. And again, mod math is what again? Remainder, and that's all we're going to be talking about. It's actually cyclical math as you're writing this down. One perfect one, I believe I said in both classes, is hours. First hour, second hour. What happens at 23 hours, then 24 hours? Then what happens? It goes back to 1. Cyclical math. That's a mod 24 system. So what's the 27th hour? It's actually 3, right? So we just did 27 mod 24. 24 goes into 27 one time with 3 as a remainder. Cyclical math. Another one I try to do is months, but months, they're different. Some are 31 days, some are 30. Pretend all the months were 30 days, and they are close to that on average, then that'd be a mod 30 system. So just have that in mind that like where, and it happens in a lot of other things. I know it's in computer programming, blah, blah, blah. So that's just a rehash of Friday. Holy cow, I just screwed up. Hold on, everyone stop. Oh, hold on. I don't even know how to do this. Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. All right, fine. I made a mistake. I got all excited about the notes. I forgot there was bell work. Okay, maybe we can just look at this and not write this down. I think the other class I had them write it down, and you can watch this again. This is all no calculator. What a jerk. You expect me to find out how 9 goes into 37,242. Okay, now remember that's what that question says in the beginning. Is 9... or does 9 divide into 37,242? What am I looking for? Remember this? Evenly. That means a remainder of what? 0. Does anyone know why I can make this no calculator? Because I'm dividing by 9? That's the hint. Go ahead. No, it's not just 42, the ending parts. Okay, it's not just that. That's not the divisible. There is something that, when we divide by that number, we can just look at the end. It's not that. Anyone know the divisibility by 9 rule? It's a little trick, and it actually works for 9 and 3. Oh, you kids these days. I'll tell you, this Generation Z is driving me nuts. All right, here we go. I got to talk to him off to the side. I finally got it. Some people do remember. I don't know if that started again. Is it going? Yes, it is. Okay, the sum of the digits. If I take the sum of these digits, 3 plus 7 plus 2... Holy cow, I don't know what's happening with my writing. Plus 4 plus 2, I think that's 18, right? 10, 12, 13, 14, 16. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 9, then the number itself is divisible by 9. That is a divisibility by 9 rule. Now how many people remember that? Raise your hand. That makes me sad it's not the whole room. Okay, well good, you were just taught something now. So therefore, is this true, yes or no? Yes. Let's do the next one. 1275 equals A mod 3. Basically, find A. And you have to know from Friday, A should be 0, 1, or 2. Correct? Actually, it could be an infinite amount of numbers. But we have this little condition here that we want it to be between 0 and what you're dividing by, the mod. So we want that smallest possible number. Okay, so... division by 3 rule is the same as the division for 9 rule, or division by 9 rule. What's 1 plus 2? 3 plus 7? 10 plus 5? 15. Does 3 go into 15? Then 3 goes in to 1275. So the answer is 0. There is no remainder. Now I'm going to take it a step further. Find A for number 3. All right. And I have this up here because we'll come back to this in a minute here. That's just some writing that I didn't get rid of. Okay, again, don't do something silly. This only works for 3 and 9. You don't do this for 7, dividing by 7, dividing by 8, dividing by 11. Only 3 and 9, this special case, exists. So what's 7 plus 6? 13. 13 plus 5 is 18. 26. The sum of the digits equals 28. Does 9 go into 28? Yes or no? Okay, so now what do we do? This wasn't, is it divisible by 9? Watch what's even more special. What does 9 go into that's close to 28? 27. What's the remainder for the sum being? Guess what? The division by 9 rule is even more special with remainders. That means the remainder when 9 goes into the actual number is also 1. So actually the speciality of this rule carries over for mod math. And you can go ahead and do that real quick. Someone do it real fast, and they probably won't, but anyone have their calculator ready? So I just had someone divide that out and show the special division by 9 rule carries over for mod math. The remainder when dividing 28 by 9 is 1. The remainder of dividing the original by 9 is 1. And that is an always. So A equals 1. And then why I had this number up here is this is the number that 9 goes into evenly, which is 1 away, 1 below the number in question. Then the last one, everybody should get this one right immediately. I'm sorry. What's number 4's answer? What does A have to be? No, I mean, what's A? What's A? Oh, I think you're going above. No, it's 3. You're below. Okay, it's the number below. The number that this goes into is 1, 2, 4, 7, 6, 0 with the remainder of 3. All right, so anytime you divide by 5, it has to end in 0 or 5. So you should be able to find those remainders very fast. All right. I'm already out of breath, and that was just the beginning. Oh, look at all those fun notes. Okay, thrilling video. Oh, my goodness, we have to do all that? Okay. All right, so I did tell you about number 2 on Friday. Remember, A equals B mod M? I could switch A and B. Really, I firmly believe, and I think it's mathematicianal laziness, that it should say A mod M equals B mod M. They should have both of them, but I think for math laziness, they assume that this is interchangeable. Okay? I don't know. That's just my opinion. Now, this next one, this listing of it will do it no justice, probably what we're actually going to be able to do. So, you know what? I don't even think we should write it. Let's just go ahead and do these. This is what this means. Okay, so go ahead and write this as an example, and I have 2 different ways of doing this. I actually argue both could be no calculator, because you should be numerate a little bit in my class. So I'm blabbering as you write this stuff down, at least some of us. Okay? One method is to, okay, so what we're doing is mod 3ing the sum. And actually, I think for math, like I said, laziness again or whatever, I really firmly believe, me being like a cat teacher or Algebra 2 teacher, it should really look like that. Like, we're mod 3ing the whole sum. We're not just mod 3ing 67 and then adding that answer to 54. I don't know, it just bothers me with this stuff, the lack of notational parentheses to really solidify this. You could do this 2 ways. The first way I call with a calculator, although come on, is you add these 2 numbers together and then mod 3 that sum. So I believe that would be 121, those 2 added together. And then we mod 3 that. Now, guess what? We're mod 3ing. So that's why I think this still could be a no calculator scenario. What's 1 plus 2 plus 1? 4. What's the remainder when 3 goes into 4? 1. So what's the remainder when 3 goes into 121? 1. And this is equal to 1 mod 3. And by the way, that is ultimately what you're trying to do. Your final answer is ultimately in regular mod question is the smallest A number you can get between 0 and just before the number you're dividing by. The other method is to break this down. Now you'll see in the next question why this is going to be an actually pretty cool thing. What you can do is break up the sum and mod 3 each part of the sum separately. Why we may call this no calculators, you're dealing with smaller numbers. So, hey, what's 5 plus 4, by the way? Does 3 go into 54 evenly then? So this is equal to 0 mod 3. And then 67, this isn't bad. Just think of 67. Does 3 go into 67? It couldn't. But what does 3 go into just before that? 66. With a remainder of what? 1. And then what you can do is go ahead and add these two. Apparently mod math is hilarious over in that corner of 3 students. Did we get the same answer? The point is, you can do this 2 different ways. One might be easier without the calculator, and I'm a jerk. I'm going to make you do non-calculator stuff, but there's a reason. It really gets you to exercise the ideas all the way through. Makes you think, and there should be some numeracy for being able to work with numbers under 100, or right around the hundreds and less. Okay, here's number 4, which I did not let you write number 3 down because I don't think it does it a service as far as what this means. It seems all crazy. If A equals B mod M and C equals D mod M, then A times C is equal to B times D mod M. What? This is really what it means. We can do and are allowed to do this. We're allowed to do the same thing that we did with the last question, but with a product. Now I will grab out what in the world just happened. I love this. Okay, so mod... I don't want you to write that rule down because it's confusing. So no. Sorry. Rejected by Mr. Samulus. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to go to our calculator. And if you're allowed to do your calculator, then this is what you would do. And I actually have it, but I'm going to clear it. Okay, so let me go back down so you can see. Boom. I just like the calculator being that large for class. So 16 times 31 mod 7 means we're going to mod 7 the product. So with the calculator, we're going to go ahead and multiply them. We're going to multiply 16 times 31, press enter, 496, and then divide that by 7 because it's a mod 7 scheme. 70 points. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this. What was 16 times 31? 496, right? So 496 divided by 7 equals 70 points. And then I got like 8 blah, 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 blah. What we need to understand is that 0.8 blah, blah, blah is some number divided by 7 as a mixed number. And that number represents the what, which is what mod math is all about. The remainder. Does anyone know what the number is, knowing that 0.8 is pretty large? It's actually 6. Okay? So we're done. That's the answer, and then I'll show you how you do this without a calculator. But how you really do this is you get rid of that whole number part. This is the best way I can think of doing it, isolating the 0.8, and then multiplying it by 7. And that is the 6 over 7. Okay, now don't be a robot. I have somebody, wait, what do you do? And then what are the steps? And blah, 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 blah. We need to understand that this is blank over 7. To figure out what the blank is you multiply it by 7. And that's how you get 6/7. So the reason we wrote that is someone had done that calculation already. So the answer to this is 6 mod 7. And we did it with a calculator. But I'm a jerk. And what do I do with that calculator? Did you see me just do that? What did I just do with your calculator? Take it away. Someone literally just handed it to me up here. So how do I do this? You separately mod these numbers. And then when you're done, you multiply the leftovers, is the best way that I can say this. And if you say you can't do this, then you are numerically challenged. And yes. I'm angry at people that can't do their times tables. For instance, how many times does 7 go into 16 without going over? Twice. What's the remainder? then you already know how to do that. That's 2 mod 7. How many times does 7 go into 31? She almost said something. 4. 4 times 7 is 28. What's the remainder? 3. Then guess what you do with the 2 and the 3? No, you don't add them, ma'am. You multiply them. What's 2 times 3? And isn't that the same as what we got with the calculator? Yes, it is, and it should be. You should not get a different answer for this. Let me take a break for a second. Oh boy, I hit it. Nice. So, gonna do the same again. I believe the third proper, or number 5, I mean, really is what's that called? A transitive property. Remember that property? If A equals B and B equals C, then A has to equal C. Do you remember that? Yeah, that's kind of what that says with mods. Then this last one just tells you what you can do with exponents, but it doesn't really tell you that. So I'll just show you and not let you write that down. Okay, so now there's 3 different examples for exponents. And the reason is there's 2 different types. This first one you can use a calculator. But I'm going to do method 1 and method 2. But before I do this, I forgot again, but I didn't. I just remembered. We have to refresh you on exponent rules if we're going to do exponent rules with mod math. So let me write this in blue up in the corner. So just stop writing that example and put a little section off to the side. What's x to the 4th times x to the 7th? And ultimately 2 answers result. It's either x to the 11th or x to the 28th. Stop! Doesn't x to the 4th mean x, right? Yeah. And then that's times x. So that's just a listing of a bunch of x's. How many x's are listed together? 11. So this is x to the 11th. So what do I do with those exponents? What do I do with the exponents? You add them. What do you do with this one when you have x to the 4th raised to the 7th? Now here's the reason. You have 7 x to the 4ths. So you have x to the 4th, 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 x to the 4th. Isn't that a lot of x's when you're done? How many x's multiplied together? 28. I always get sad with the students that flip a coin and pick, do I multiply the exponents or do I add? All right, and that's what you do in both cases, because what you need those rules in order to deal with exponents with mod math. Not the first one, though, because we're going to use the calculator. First one is, what if I did have the calculator? Well, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 to the 10th, press enter. That's not that big of a number. So really what this is 1024, I missed a 0, mod 7. And I'm going to continue with the calculator because there's no special divide by 7 rule. Don't start adding digits. That's only 3 and 9. And then I'm physically going to divide that by 7 and analyze the decimal. What do you think 0.28 is actually? 1/7, 2/7, 3/7? What do you think? Somebody take a guess. Come on.
2.
It is 2. Nice. Good guess. Okay, so what we're saying is 1024 divided by 7 ended up being, was that 146? Is that what we had? And blank over 7. And I got to fill in the blank, and that's what the remainder is. So how do I do that? I lop off that 146 by subtraction just to get it out of there, get it out of this thing. And I multiply that by 7, and that's why I asked. You could probably guess that it's around 2. 2 over 7 is around 0.28, around 0.3. Okay, so anyway, the answer to this question is therefore 2 mod 7. There's the cyclical, dividing by 7. Modulation. I guess I could make up a word. Or, now look at this. When the exponents are small, and they don't necessarily have to be even. If I gave you no calculator on this, this is what you'd have to do. You'd have to break this down. And the smartest thing to break this down is try to cut the exponent in half. And in this case, it is an even power, so I can. Or I could say it's 2 to the 5th raised to the 2nd, but I think this is smart to just say 2 to the 5th times 2 to the 5th. If it was 2 to the 9th, you do 2 to the 5th and 2 to the 4th. That's it. Because why? What are you supposed to do with these exponents? You're supposed to what? What are you supposed to do with 5 and 5? Add them. So that's why this is legal. And then what we could do is what we did in the last questions. I don't know why we switched to red. That was fun. What you can do is 2 to the... Okay, now use your hands. Pretend, as long as you got 5 fingers... One, two, three, four, five. That's 6. Holy jeez. All right, let's just lop that one off. Okay. Okay, so you hold up your hand. What's 2 times 2? So you can use your finger. What's 2 times 2? 4. What's 2 times 4? What's 2 times 8? What's 2 times 16? 32. So I tried to emulate what I'm doing in class. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. I'm infinitely sad how many students think they can't do 2 to the 5th without a calculator. You should be able to think a little bit mathematically. And then what I'm doing is using that product rule that I said before. You could mod separately each part of the product. And then you can analyze what that the leftover is and then go for it. And I know the calculator question was easy. But you do too many things with your calculator and then don't remember what's behind all the stuff. By the way, what is 32 mod 7? Come on, somebody get it. 32 mod 7. 4. 7 goes into 28. So you're 4 away. Now you're going to get a little panicky here. What are you supposed to do with both of these 4s? You're supposed to what? Multiply them. Hold on. This is 16 mod 7. What's going on? It's supposed to be 2 mod 7. My question is, isn't 16 mod 7 2 mod 7? 7 goes into 14 with the remainder of 2. So I don't care. I couldn't care less that this took all of these steps. This actually goes through the process of all the mod things that you're supposed to know. Okay, we'll take another break here in class, not on the video. Okay, here is why, as you start writing this one down, you cannot even do this with your calculator. Meaning, I could give you this on the calculator part of the test, and the calculator is not going to help you in the classic way. Because the first thing you would do is go like this. Okay, I could just get this number, divide it by 7, and then analyze the decimal and get the remainder. Do you know what's going to happen when I do 2 to the 302nd power on my calculator? Anyone? 2, caret. It's not really an error. The calculator says, what? I didn't expect that. I completely and totally expected what used to be called on the older calculators, overflow. But I don't care even still. What's the decimal? This is scientific notation. This is 8. You would have to move that decimal 90 places to the right. But then you don't even have the decimal after that. You do not even get the remainder on this. Okay, they went to blank significant digits, about, I don't know how many are there, 10 significant digits, and then it doesn't help. So I'm actually surprised that even calculated that. Maybe an older 83 won't even give you an answer at all because of the size of the memory. So here's what you got to do, and you got to listen, please. You know, many students picked this up last year. Many students just quit. This is really not that hard. And I'm going to show you some special rules of mod math why this would occur. So this is what we have to do. We have to find, oh my gosh, that's technology right there. We have to find a value that equals or is congruent to 1 mod, in this case 7. We want to work with powers of 2 because 2 is the one being raised to the power. And find out if I can find 2 to some power equals 1 mod math. So here's side work. Here's 2 to the first. Now let's analyze what's 2 mod 7. Well, that's a silly analyzation there. What's 2 mod 7? Ooh, actually, interesting question. What's the answer for that? It's just 2. The remainder is 2 when 7 goes into 2. I don't know why that just came up. Oh my gosh. I turn off. I don't even know what this is on. What's focus assistant? Why did this even happen over here? Oh my gosh. Escape. Oh my goodness. Do I turn it off? Do I leave it on? I did. I'm hitting the screen. I'm freaking out, man. Who's Lorna? What? Get this. There. All right, I got it. I got it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry if that. Who just said, dude? I don't even know what's happening right now. Hold on, I gotta go get this. Next one. What's 2 squared, everybody? What's 2 squared? Focus. What is 4 mod 7? Just play along. Actually, answer that question. It is 4. 7 goes into 4, 0, so we're not getting anywhere. By the way, when you go through this progression, you will get 1 mod 7. It's guaranteed to happen by the cycle of numbers. 2 to some power will equal 1 mod 7 when you're done. Is a fact or a mact? What's 2 to the third? What is 8 mod 7, everybody? 1. Ding, 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 ding. Now watch how this dictates how I break down 2 to the 302nd power. And then I'll show you how loose you can be with mod and how it works and why this is so nice. So now what we want to do is we want to rewrite this 2 to the 302nd power using exponent rules. 2 to the third is the key, though, and I'll show you why after I write this down. But the problem you're going to get, those that don't understand their math too, is how to break down the exponent. And what has to happen is, whatever I write next, this all has to equal 2 to the 302nd power. That's all I'm trying to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this to a power. 2 to the third raised to a power. Now I want to raise it to a power that gets it very, very close to 302 as a power. So someone first hour got it right away. What's the number? Not 300, but 100. You want to raise this to the 100th power because 2 to the third raised to the 100th. Now we're at 2 to the 300th power. We're getting close. Now I'll show you why this works and what's going to happen with mod math next. And again, this is the power raised to a power rule, the one that I shared right here in blue. Okay, the bottom one. When I have a power raised to a power, I'm able to multiply the exponents. And now I'm going to use the top rule for the leftover. What do I have left over? How much power do I need? 2 more powers. And that has to be 2 squared by multiply, because then what do you do with those exponents? You add them. And now we're going to mod 7 this product with powers. But here's how liberal you can be with mod 7 ultimately. You can choose who you want to mod first, and what we're going to mod 7 first is inside these parentheses. So I ask you, as I point down to this lower left yellow, what is 2 to the third mod 7? What does that end up becoming? 1. The very next thing, this turns into 1. And everybody, what's 1 to the 100th power? 1. And I don't know why we switched to green. And then all you have to do is, what is 2 squared mod 7, which you've already written on your paper? It's already over here. 4. This ultimately will cyclically end up being 4. Or you could write this as 4 mod 7. Is what the simplification through the cycles of this would become. And of course, this requires another example, because it does. So we'll do one more, and we'll flow right into it. All right, so I got another obnoxious one, and it is a mod 20. And unfortunately, I do give away where it ends. But it doesn't, it could take a while, and it doesn't take much. You don't necessarily have to write it all down. But this is my trying to find out, where do I get 1 mod 20? Which one does it hit? Okay, so 3 to the first, come on. What's 3 mod 20? That's just going to simply be what? 3. 20 goes into 3 0 times. 3 is the remainder. 3 squared doesn't even work very well. What's 9 mod 20? This is why you don't have to write this if you get it. This would not be written on your own paper. You'd skip to 3 to the third. Now you're getting somewhere, but 3 to the third is what? Well, again, I can't help you with your times tables. 27. What is 27 mod 20? Come on, what's the answer? 7. And I don't want that. I want 1. I want 1. And then look at what the next one is. Does anyone know what 3 to the fourth is? 81. It will happen, and this may require a calculator, this part, as the numbers get larger. It may not happen even at 3 to the 4th. You may have to keep going until it occurs. But 3 to the 4th is 81. What's 81 mod 20, everybody? Say it joyously. 1. So that means instantaneously, I want to take this and make it 3 to the 4th, and then I got to break it down so all of this ends up equaling, through exponent rules, 3 to the 203rd. So what's the next thing? What am I going to 3 to the 4th raised to what power gets close to 203? Somebody got it last. Boom. Did you hear what he said? Why did he say 50? What's 4 times 50? 200. And again, I have some people holding their brain together like it's going to explode. And it really shouldn't be that big of a deal, and I shouldn't have to write this out like how you set up an equation to figure this out. We want this still to be 3 to the 203 power, but that 3 to the 4th is very powerful. When I mod 20 that, you get the 1, and then it really reduces this question to be something very simple to do. By the way, what's left over? 3 to the what? 3rd, through the adding of exponent rules. So this does, mathematically, through math 2, maybe even math 3, this is equivalent to 3 to the 203rd power, just using exponent rules. Now let's do the magic of mod math and using the rules liberally, quite liberally, which says, you know what, I could mod 20 3 to the 4th first. What do we find out 3 to the 4th mod 20 is? That turns into 1. The next thing is, what's 1 to the 50th power? 1. So really, I've reduced this down to 3 to the 3rd mod 20, which I actually already evaluated. What did that end up becoming? 7. It is right here. You already evaluated this. If you want to go ahead and evaluate it again, you'd go through this math again. That's the answer. And you're done. So again, most of the times mod mathing was that last thing you did on Friday. Find the smallest possible A value between 0 and just before the M number that you're dividing by. All right? And that one is special. Okay? All right, we'll end the video. Where are we at? Whoo, darn.